Hi, everybody. Welcome to a brand new segment of Inclusion Unlimited. I'm your host, Leslie Mouton, the Creative Media Director for Morgans. It may be the end of July, but summer isn't over quite yet. And if you're blind or if you're traveling with someone who is blind or has a disability, Tom Babinszki at Even Grounds has you covered. Tom is a blogger, and he is an accessibility consultant specializing in accessible travel for people who are blind. His website, Even Grounds, has dozens of museums and travel destinations that are tactile and accessible. Here's Emma Seabold with that interview.
For decades, Tom Babinszki has been working in accessibility. His consultancy, Even Grounds, offers a host of accessibility training and resources. But today, Tom and I talked about his blog, where he writes about reviews, tips, and accessible travel destinations for blind people. Tom joins me over Zoom.
I grew up in Hungary, and I was completely blind. And those days, accessibility or equal opportunities or inclusion wasn't a thing. So I really had to advocate for myself. And then later I thought, oh, okay, if I can do it for others, I can do it for myself. So that's how I ended up in accessibility.
Tom then started blogging to show the accessibility he encountered when traveling as a blind person.
When I was traveling, many people in the hospitality industry asked me questions. They were extremely good questions, but I felt that somebody who is receiving so many people with disabilities should be more aware of how people with disabilities travel. I feature all kinds of interesting people, interesting services, accessible museums, and I'm trying to show people and organizations that blind people travel, they want to travel, they need to travel, and to make it accessible is actually not all that difficult. And there's so many amazing examples that do it right. And I'm encouraging other organizations to do the same.
And speaking of amazing examples, I think you mentioned to me that your reviews and your blog posts are usually about the positive experiences that you had. Is that right?
Look, I'm a complainer like everybody else, but I don't put it online. And here's why. I have read so many blogs talking about what's not working, what could be better, or what's a problem. And I do agree with all of them. And those are very good blogs, but I didn't want to stand in line with that. I don't want to tell you what's wrong. I want to tell you that, look, here is, if you're going to do this, or take this as an example, or take inspiration from this, then you could do it too. So every time I go somewhere and I think about reviewing a service, a product, a museum, I only review it if I give it a 5-star. Recently, I went to the Typological Museum in Madrid. That was last year, actually, and I bring this one up because this museum was specifically made for blind people.
Oh, wow.
And they also have the funds to do that. So I think that's not necessarily your average example, but I really liked it because they got the most out of it. And it really shows that they put a ton of effort into accessibility. But let me give you almost an opposite of the example. When I went to Cincinnati, I visited the Underground Freedom Center, and Underground Railroad Freedom Center. And I just went there because I was in Cincinnati, and that sounded like a really cool thing, and I'm interested in the topic. So I just asked for an appointment and a guided tour. And it was really cool because they have a piece of the Berlin Wall, which is kind of is in a sense parallel to slavery, right? So that's why they have it there. But I grew up in Eastern Europe, and the first time I was able to touch the Berlin Wall was in Cincinnati.
Oh, wow.
So that was interesting. But so I went to this museum, and it was just this wow feeling that everything is out there for everybody. You can touch it, you can interact with it, you can enjoy it. There's statues, there's sounds, there's music, there's recording, there's like a totally fantastic experience for blind people. And then I specifically asked for the guided tour because when I was checking their website, it said nothing about it. It said, it had, and that was a few years ago, and so now it's different. But it had something, your generic statement about, and then we comply with accessibility regulations and guidelines and, just the stuff that everybody puts up on their site if they don't want to get in trouble. It was that kind of a thing. And it was just amazing. And so this is what I'm trying to encourage people, that yes, you can make your stuff more accessible. But before you do that, let's look around your offering just today and take a note of what is accessible about it right now and brag about it. There's a lot to complain about. And sure, could I have found something in this museum that was problematic? Sure, that's my job, to find issues and help you fix it. But I didn't go there as an accessibility consultant. I went there as a blind traveler who was really interested in finding out more about the museum because it's just fascinating.
Even Grounds has an exciting new product that I hadn't thought of before: 3D tactile restroom maps.
So as a blind person, I try to avoid public restrooms because whether they are cleaned or not, it's based on chance and luck and on knowledge. And sure, oftentimes they are, but more often they're not. And by the time I find what I'm looking for, I really need to look for the sink and clean my hands and try to find everything all over again. And that's really frustrating. So once I had an idea, what if restrooms had a tactile map that you could check before you walk in? So this is what we did. Here's a restroom. This is not any particular restroom. We just made this a demo. So you can go in. There's walls. There's doors. There's here's a sink with a faucet, and soap, and a towel holder, and toilets. There's even little rolls of paper here. It makes sense for blind people to have this. It makes sense to organizations who serve particularly more blind people, where schools for the blind or organizations for the blind, or right. It simply makes sense that they have this for their guests. But I have to say that I got interest from anybody, like restaurants, churches, museums, any place. So yeah, that's our new thing. I started writing this for people who don't know about how blind people travel because I wanted to educate. And as I still do that, and this is still my primary goal. And I believe that at this point, no matter who reads it, if they're interested in accessible travel, then they'll find something interesting in there for them.
Thank you so much, Emma, and thank you everybody as always for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you next week.